Welcome to Your Creative Mind. This show is all about tapping into your creativity and using it to build a life you love. You'll hear practical tools, inspiring stories, and conversations with artists, writers, innovators, and changemakers who are doing the work, so you can too. Let's spark your imagination, focus your energy, and create with purpose. Ready? Let's go. And now we're going to be talking with the folks at Hootenanny Games, and I have with me Whitney Kimmerling, Alex Kimmerling, a husband and wife duo, and Jason Lautenschlager, who is the person who invented a game I'm about to get obsessed with, so I'm very excited about that. So first of all, I want to thank you all for being here and for taking the time to chat about this. I want to ask both Whitney and Alex, with Hootenanny, it's a family-oriented game company, and it's also designed to help little kids be creative and sort of develop what they love as far as when they grow. Because you asked me, Alex, right before we started, you went, what's your favorite animal? And I love that. What a great starting thing. So I'm going to ask you both, Whitney and Alex, what was your favorite thing about starting a game company?
Oh, I think it goes back to the main idea of this company is if we succeed at making games, people will smile, which is such a good mission to bring back to the very beginning. What do you think, Whit?
Absolutely. I mean, if people are having fun, we're doing our job right. And we're parents of young kids, and we know the importance of fostering that creativity in them and letting them see all these different things that you can do in this life. And so we're really wanting to model that for them, show them the fun things that can come out of expressing your creativity.
Okay, so that begs the question. How do you see them expressing their creativity when they're playing these games?
Oh, well, in Feelin Cute in particular, they have very strong opinions about what animal they think is the cutest. Try to tell my 8-year-old that the chameleon is not the cutest animal in the deck, and he will fight you for it. So it really helps them develop this strong voice, which I love.
And I imagine that there are some stories that are told with the animals on the cards. That's something that I immediately started thinking myself. So I would like to ask Jason and Barry McLaughlin, who are the two inventors of this particular game, of Feelin Cute. Talk to me a little bit about why the title, why Feelin Cute, and what is your favorite animal? Jason, let's start with you.
Oh, that's a good question. The first one, we have to give all credit to Hootenanny for coming up with the title of Feelin Cute, because they wanted to come up with a title that specifically was a moment in the game when you said, I've made up my mind on where I think this next animal is going to be on the cuteness spectrum, therefore I am feeling cute. And it's also just a great kind of evergreen concept out there as well. People say they're feeling cute, or there's social media memes going around about feeling cute. So the title itself, is really, it's a win-win, because it tells you kind of what you're about to do in the game, but it also kind of co-opts this, zeitgeisty phrase as well. And then for me, my favorite animal in the whole bunch, oh man, that is a tough one. I'm gonna go with the quokka. Yeah.
Quokka sounds South American to me. Australian. Oh, well, at least it's Southern Hemisphere. All right, Barry, so talk to me a little bit about Feelin Cute. I know there are lots of other games we could talk about, but this one has got me sort of jazzed because, as I said, I love animals. Tell me what Feelin Cute is, and how do kids get to the point where they play this game?
So it is a game where you're ranking the cuteness of animals. And you're also trying to get in other people's minds as far as where are they gonna put it on the spectrum of cuteness. And at first Jason and I actually didn't think that it was specifically for kids, but as soon as we teamed up with Hootenanny, they immediately saw that was the big attraction, and that kids were crazy for it. And so that was a real eye-opener for us. And since then, we've sort of doubled and tripled down on that, and it's been awesome to see just how kids get so lit up with seeing cute animals, and how the spectrum grows, and suddenly there's more cute animals, and then more, and the more you play, the more you're learning about all these different animals and where they're from, and maybe you want to explore a little bit further, and yeah.
I love that. And part of the reason before NASA, I worked at the National Geographic Society, and I worked on, this tells you how long ago, CD-ROM of the mammals of the world. So it was many decades ago. But what's interesting to me about looking at this kind of educational fun is that we have an opportunity as adults to provide pathways for kids. So as you folks at Hootenanny are thinking about providing pathways, if you could provide any sort of educational and fun pathway for kids through your games, what would you do, Alex?
So that's a good question. I think with Feelin Cute in particular, the pathway is very evident that these kids just thrive talking about animals. I mean, we've got an 8-year-old son who every day asks us what our 7th favorite animal is or what our 2nd least favorite animal is. So we're like in this world where they can often teach us about the animals in this game. They know more than we do. And it's so cool for them to have that knowledge and expertise in our home, where normally it's the opposite, right? We teach our kids things, but they have this opportunity to teach us, which is really special.
And I love that there are probably future zoologists from people who are playing this game and people who want to learn more about animals. Whitney, what are your thoughts on this? And in addition to that, where would you like to see Hootenanny Games go?
Well, I will tell you, to answer your first question, we love sneakily educational components in our games. We went back and forth on, do we put animal facts on these cards or not? And we specifically decided not to, because it really spawns this great conversation as you're playing. Where does it live? What does it eat? Have you ever seen one before? And so that sneakily educational component is something we really like to incorporate. As far as where we'd like to see Hootenanny go, we would like for Hootenanny to be the game company that you know when you pick up one of our games, it's going to be a great, fun family experience and something that you can count on to pull out of your game cabinet time after time that kids and adults alike both want to play.
Okay, I'm sold, right? That's the thing, though. As I was mentioning to Shauna as we were walking down, I host a game night. And this kind of game, yeah, and they're all adults, but they're all animal lovers. So it's a bunch of vegans playing games. So you know, that's one of the things, though. When you're playing games and when you're picking it up and you're going, do I want to play this? When something gets you curious about it is where you want to go. So with you two, with Barry, and you're holding your thing, Jason, thank you. I'm like, they've got their arms in front of their badges, so I can't tell their names. So let me ask you, what are you curious about next when it comes to creating games? And then how do you test them? How do you design them? How do you figure out what gameplay will be in order for this to be a game that can come to market with a company like Hootenanny?
It's different really with every idea. I mean, sometimes we start with just a title and then play around with different mechanics and, okay, what could this crazy title be? And we'll go kind of all over the map as far as it's a skill and action game, it's a party game, it's adult, it's family, it's kids, until something really seems to click. And then other times we have a game mechanic that we just really want to build something around. And with this game specifically, we just started with the idea of cute animal cards. And what can we do with that? And we really went all over the place. I mean, it was at one point it was a role-playing game. At another point, it was this kind of comedic game. At one point, there were just numbers, and there was nothing subjective about it at all. And then it just took going through probably about 10 different versions of the game until we landed on the simplicity and the sort of table talk aspect of this. Well, how do you just rank them? And so once we got on that simple thing and then expanded it a little bit, and then with the help of Hootenanny to really round the edges and to really make sure that the gameplay was tight. And so, you know, we would test with our friends and with our families. But then when we worked with Hootenanny, when we first pitched it to them, they went and play tested it with like 8 or 9 families that weekend. And so they got feedback so fast. And that was really, that was an amazing response for us, where, you know, we haven't had somebody that we've pitched to play test it the next day before. So that was really special. And that showed to us too, like, just that they had the heart and the vision for this, and we really wanted to just keep that party going.
Awesome. Okay, Jason, so you are the last question. where do you want to see, well, the last question of this, I have a couple questions I'm going to be asking everybody. Where do you want to see your design ideas go from here? Do you want to expand more into adult games, or do you want to look at and focus in on more, for example, the animal world? How do you envision what your creativity is going to do and what your curiosity is going to do and where they're going to take you?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the curiosity part of it, and I think for us, we are stewards of these games and these ideas, and the reason we go through so many iterations of a game design is because we're trying to figure out what the game wants to be. So as far as like, I don't know if that's going to be more animals in the future. I don't know if it's going to be more party in the future. Like, each game kind of presents its own marketing opportunity. And I think the beauty of games is when you leave enough space for the players to bring their experience to it. And that's when the game really takes full shape. You do your best, you put the canvas out there, you put the paints out there, but it's really what the players bring to the table that's most exciting. And for us to put a bracket on that and say we want to be more in this area or that area, it's really not up to us. It's up to both the game itself and the people who are going to play it.
I love the way you put that. I think that's fascinating because so much of this ends up being your audience in a way tells you what they want next. You know, I have a lot of friends who are game designers, and that is part and parcel of what it is. The play testing will get you there, but also, what does the market say? And it's funny, I'm more creative than a marketer. I'm not a natural marketer, but seeing feedback like that must be really rewarding to all of you, especially you with Hootenanny trying to bring this family-friendly kind of creative. My stars! I don't know if you're listening to this and you can hear the things that sound like chimpanzees. I mean, do you have a chimpanzee card in the game? I think we should probably like throw a card over there so that they can see it. I mean, the game is coming alive. Yeah, maybe maybe that's what's happening. It's a very own Jumanji. Wow. All right. So first of all, thank you all for joining me for this very quick little interview. I appreciate it, and I can't wait to get the game and play it myself. Wow, I'm way over modulating. I don't know why. My microphone is doing weird things. But I have two questions that I ask everybody who comes on the show. And the first person is going to answer the question, and everybody else is going to have a little time. So, sorry, Whitney, you're the one who gets the first one. And the question is, what is it that gets you up in the morning? And I don't mean your alarm.
Well, other than my dog and my children who stomp around until I'm out of bed, honestly, this is such a fun job. I came from a totally different industry, and this is something that brings joy into the world, and I love the fact that I get to do that on a daily basis.
I love that. The job, the dog, and the kids, not necessarily in that order. All right, Jason, what about you?
I intentionally get up an hour before the kids get up because that is the only quiet time, as you know, in the household. So it is my alarm first and foremost. I know you said beyond that. I will say, like, being able to create things that carry on without you being there, and so like creating a legacy of entertainment, I would say is the most important thing for me.
Awesome. Okay, Barry, how about you?
No kids, so I sleep the latest of the bunch. But what gets me up right now, I'm going to get hyper specific that there is a game that we're working on that I am just super jazzed about. And so every day moving that forward is really exciting for me.
That's fabulous. And I'm not going to ask you to tease it, but I'm very excited to see what it'll be like. Yeah. No, that was see you bye. that was a drive-by. Right, that was not a tease. A tease would tell me a little bit about the game, but that's okay, I understand. All right, so Alex, what about you?
All right, so what gets me up in the morning? I think the idea of bringing something fun into people's lives is just really positive. And waking up with a little positivity is always a good thing. And I think that also getting to do this job with my wife and, the most important person in my life, it's fantastic. Couldn't ask for more.
I love that. I'm going to tell my husband you said that and hope he does the same thing. All right, cool. So here's the last question. And Jason, I'm going to start with you. I love the fact that you're like, I'm not going to tell you what my name is. He keeps hiding his badge, but now I remember. So here's the last question. You all are going to get a little bit of a time to answer it, except you, Jason. And the question is this. If you had an airplane, environmentally friendly, of course, that could skywrite anything for the whole world to see, what would you say?
Wow. If I had an airplane that could skywrite a message for the whole world to see, is the question that you asked me, and now I'm going to answer it.
That's a long message.
It is. No, I just love. I mean, I guess if it's one word, I would say love. I think there's a lot of other messages I'd love to send people about gratitude and joy, but it all starts with that.
Awesome. All right. Alex?
Have fun and be kind. How about that?
Those are great. And in fact, be kind is the very last thing I always say on every podcast episode. So totally. You'll hear it in about 2 minutes. All right, cool. Whitney, how about you?
Well, since my answer was just taken by my wonderful husband, I might just take a different fun tack and say, are you feeling cute?
Ooh, I want to say yes. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I might need another cup of coffee to get to cute, but that's all right. All right, Perry, how about you?
Chill out.
Okay. Chill out is also a really good one. I love it. All right, cool. Thank you all so much. I'm not nearly cool enough to be able to do that. So if somebody wants to know quickly how to get to Hootenanny Games, where do they go?
Our website is Play Hootenanny, HOOTENANNY. I feel like I need to spell that for people who are outside the South. So playhootenanny.com, or follow us on social media at Play Hootenanny.
Awesome. And those links are going to be in the show notes right next to the picture that I'm about to take of all these fabulous folks and their games. This is Izolda Trachtenberg for the Your Creative Mind podcast, reminding you, as always, to be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Izolda Trachtenberg and is copyright 2025. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope.